Welcome, welcome, welcome to Queer Conversations. I'm your host, G of Vergy TV. I'm here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST. And my guest today is Glen Weinzimer. Is that how you say it?
You got it right.
Oh, perfect.
First try.
Yes, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
as always.
And Glen does several things, and we're going to talk a lot about a few of them. The Smart Ride.
My baby.
His baby. That raises millions and millions of dollars for HIV and AIDS,
Correct.
right?
We've raised $9.3 million in the last 14 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And also he's a part owner of the Bona Italian restaurant, which is in Wilton Manors, and we're in Fort Lauderdale area, and that's our neighborhood, right?
That's our neighborhood, yeah.
So I just want to start off a little bit with, tell us a little bit about, the Smart Ride, like what is it?
Sure. Smart Ride is the southernmost AIDS HIV ride, and we started it in 2003 to prove that individuals could make a difference, that we could raise money and raise awareness about HIV and AIDS, and give back 100% of every dollar our participants raise. And we've kept to that promise for the last 14 years.
Wonderful. And when you say ride, you mean literally riding bicycle?
Bicycle.
Riding
not
bicycle.
a motorcycle, it's a bicycle.
Yeah. And let me welcome everybody for joining. Thank you for joining us today. Please ask questions. Please share this video. Please comment, interact, and like this page, Vergy TV. Good evening, David. So it's literally riding. People are riding from where to where?
We leave from the University of Miami.
Okay.
It's going to be on November 16th. Is our actual ride date is November 16th and November 17th. We leave from the University of Miami. The first day they ride 100 miles. So you look at it as 5 20-mile rides, so don't panic. You can do it. You ride 20 miles. You can do the first day. And the second, and then we overnight at Hawks Cay in Duck Key, in the Middle Keys. And then the following day, another 65 miles, you're in Key West.
Wonderful.
We celebrate like rock stars.
I can imagine. So how do people get involved in it?
So what's important is that the Smart Ride benefits 7 organizations around the state of Florida, all
Wonderful.
AIDS service organizations. So each one of our organizations are spread out throughout the state. We have one agency in Key West, we have one agency in Miami, which is Pride Lines. In Fort Lauderdale, we have a children's agency, Children's Diagnostic and Treatment Center, and then we have Broward House. When you go up further north in West Palm Beach, we have Compass. You go even further than that, in Orlando, we have Miracle of Love.
Wow.
And then you cross the state to St. Pete and Tampa, and we have Metro Wellness and Community Centers. So each one of them gets a portion of the money that is raised.
Great.
And they all do training rides, and we do info sessions and things like that throughout the communities.
Okay, great. We have a question here. Is there a pre-party or post-party event for those who don't want to ride to participate? So can other people participate in other ways?
So we have about 750 people.
Okay, wonderful.
500 of them ride, 250 of them volunteer, and they do everything from drive trucks to hand out water, to give someone a hug if they need it.
Okay.
They help with housing, they mark the route, they chalk the road with inspirational sayings. So
nice.
if you're a nurse, we have a full medical team. If you're a massage therapist, we travel with a full massage team. So there are lots of ways to be involved, to contribute, to raise the level of awareness about HIV and AIDS, and not necessarily be on your bicycle.
Okay, great.
But to answer the question...
Is there a party?
There's a party. There's a party in Key West. There's actually 3 official closing parties.
Okay, great.
After we do our closing ceremonies at the White Street Pier at the AIDS Memorial in Key West, then there's an official party by the Key West Gay Business Guild. Then there's our official closing party at Bourbon Street.
Okay, great.
And then we go across the street to 801 around 11 o'clock at night.
So there's a lot of parties.
Yes.
That's great.
After the ride, you can party all you want. On the event, no drinking.
Okay.
A dry
great.
event.
Okay, that sounds good. So what inspired this? 2003?
2003.
What inspired this whole project? I mean, this is massive.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
One is I used to volunteer for a different bicycle ride that was nationwide, that was for HIV and AIDS, and it started really at the height of the pandemic in 95, 96, around that time. And it raised a lot of money. It had a lot of people participating, but most of the money went to administration. So here in Florida, they raised $1 million, they had 1,000 people ride, and only 60,000 out of the million went back to help people.
Wow.
And this is at a point where our friends are dying and we want to do something,
Right.
and we're trying so hard, and you're asking everyone to give, and then the money doesn't really help anybody.
Okay.
So it went through a few reincarnations, and I volunteered for one of the organizations that was trying to do this. And in 2001, they did their last event. They lost money, and no money went back to the agencies, and the company that produced it lost money. And I was asked to speak at closing ceremonies and to challenge people. And I put out there that we could do this better and we could give back 100%. And,
and you're doing that. You're doing
and
back
that's what we're doing,
100%.
100%.
That's
since
amazing.
year one.
That's wonderful.
So that, and I'm HIV positive. So, I'm one of those that survived the worst of the pandemic.
Okay.
I'm one of those that they said, you have 10 days to live. And I told my parents I was in the hospital, that I wasn't going to make it through the week. And
when was that?
That was 1993.
Wow.
So
amazing. Thanks for sharing.
No,
I didn't know.
Yeah. So, I had my personal reasons. I was
Yes.
forced to retire. I fit that whole stereotype. I had a viatical company buy my insurance policy.
Wow.
And I actually bought a Mercedes because, I was going to die anyway. I thought I'd at least have one for a couple of months. And I survived. So, yeah, I've been very fortunate. And so for me, I have a marketing background. I had a successful career that I had to give up. And here was an opportunity to make a difference, to give back, and to say thank you, because I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
And in 96, 97, they came out with protease inhibitors, and my health turned around, and I was able to volunteer more, and eventually, we started the ride in 2003,
Wow.
and life got
It's an
better.
amazing story.
So,
Yeah, it's an amazing story. I love what you're doing. How do people get involved?
They can go to our website, which is thesmartride.org, and you have to put the in, otherwise you end up
Okay.
with a bus company in Ohio.
Okay, so
it's
and I think we have Nikki here supporting us. She put it in.
Okay,
link.
good.
So go to the
So
website.
you can go to the website, you can sign up as a writer or as a volunteer. It's a $95 registration fee.
Okay.
But that includes your housing overnight in the Middle Keys.
Okay.
It includes all your food over the course of the 2 days.
This is good.
Yeah, so for $95 you get to go away for the weekend. And then you make a difference and you feel good about yourself and you meet amazing people. Because you got to figure, you might meet someone in a bar and you dismiss them because of attitude or because of the way they're dressed or the people they're hanging with, or you judge people really quickly. If you meet someone on the bike ride, you know that regardless of like an attitude or something, there's something inside their soul that caused them to do something bigger than themselves, to give back to the community, that they immediately score points, and that they've trained for the ride, which meant they got up early in the morning, especially during the summer months, and trained before the heat of the day. They raised money. Every rider is required to raise a minimum of $1,250,
That's great.
and on average they raise over $2,000. So they're doing that, and they're asking people to help other people. They're not asking people to help themselves.
Right.
And I always tell that to people when they're raising money. Don't be afraid to ask, because you're not asking for you. You're asking me I'm asking you to help me help somebody else. And then you think of it that way, it's easier to ask somebody for something. And so we've been really fortunate, and our sponsors are that way too. We want our sponsors to help us be able to do this, but we don't want them to give more than they're comfortable with.
Right.
And that's worked for us.
And I know that there's a question or a challenge maybe, like, is AIDS and HIV as relevant now, 2018, as it was in the early 2000s?
So the theme sort of for this year is the battle has changed.
Okay.
The disease is as relevant now. It's just people don't die as quickly.
Okay.
People still get immune to some of the medications. They still get sick. And one of the problems, we're seeing a huge increase in new cases of HIV. Florida ranks #1 in the nation for new cases. And Dade County is #1 in the entire nation. Broward County is #2 in the nation. And so the state of Florida is, where other parts of the country, even New York and San Francisco, have seen a reduction.
Do we know why Florida?
It's a lifestyle. It's people coming down here. It's a youth that feels invincible. There are people that don't remember the worst of the pandemic. Now, when you look at somebody who's HIV positive, they take a pill, they look great. They do everything like everybody else does.
Yes.
But they don't know, the side effects of some of the medication. There's lots of things out there right now. You can do PrEP. There's been a report from the CDC that if you're with somebody who is HIV positive, but they're undetectable, meaning that the amount of virus in their body is basically gone, that you can't catch it from another person. So you're getting youth that are getting mixed messages. They're being told they should be on this medication that will keep them safe. They're being told you can be with someone who's positive if they tell you that they're undetectable. And then we've got a problem with people not talking about it. If you don't talk about it and you don't say the word AIDS, it doesn't exist.
Right, exactly.
So, I shared that story with you earlier about a sponsor of ours. I went to meet with them, and she said to me, we always give you money, but why? AIDS isn't a thing anymore. And we talked for 45 minutes about her kids that are 11 and 14 and how they're going to experiment. And they live in Lake Worth in this perfect little, idyllic community
Yeah, right.
where every house is the same, the kids are all the same age, and it doesn't touch them yet.
Right, not yet, but yeah.
You know, some kid's going to go out and experiment and come back, and they could potentially have a pandemic in their own community that could be avoided if you just talk about it.
Well,
You know?
well, I'm glad that you stayed like so passionate about this mission. And for people who are watching, please go to the website. People can register now to join a ride and do anything. What's the deadline for registering?
We're looking to close registration in September.
Okay, so coming up soon. That's going to come pretty quickly. So
it's like in the next 60
jump on
days.
board. Jump on board. So Glenn, I always ask people who join me here, talk a little bit about who they are in terms of their identity in the LGBTQ spectrum that we have, and your coming out story.
So I'm gay.
Okay.
I never questioned it. I always knew that I was gay. I didn't come out to my family probably, like my parents till I was 32.
Wow.
But to my friends and stuff when I was in college, at that point I was already going to bars and you know, having my life experiences, if you will. And my first experience, actually, I think I was in high school as a senior.
Okay.
With Fred, a camping trip.
Fred.
That's all we'll say.
Camping. Someone was just telling us about how camping was great. Another friend of ours who's a gay guy, and he was like, "Oh man, I love, what was it, like camp and Boy Scouts was great." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh
I
my
didn't
God."
do any of that stuff. But that one camping trip I did.
That's great.
That was my
Yeah.
first experience.
And you said you always knew, so you're 8 years old, you knew.
I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
I knew I
that's
liked
awesome.
Superman. I knew I liked Clark Kent. I
Okay.
liked Robin more than Batman. Yeah, I definitely knew early on what I liked.
Okay.
And I never really experimented. I just was comfortable with that. I wasn't so comfortable expressing it.
Right.
But I knew inside that it didn't feel right when all my friends were in high school starting to experiment with girls. And I remember being in one of my friends' houses, and there was, if you want to call it, 4 couples that were there, and like had sort of paired me up with this girl Lisa, and I felt bad, but you know, one person went in the closet to practice kissing and stuff, and I found a reason to get out of there.
You're like,
and
I don't want
said,
Lisa.
I'm out of here.
No. Yeah.
So the same thing happened in college.
And how was it for your family when you did come out?
They were really, I'm very fortunate. I come from a very liberal Jewish family, and my parents really didn't have a problem.
Okay.
In fact, they asked me, because I was avoiding telling them, because you know, I didn't want to disappoint them, was where you think you're going to be disappointing them, and in fact, they've been great. And pretty much right after I came out, my sister got married, and I was seeing someone at that point. And at the wedding, you know, I had my great aunts and uncles that were there. Some of them lived through the Holocaust, and they're very, you know, older and conservative. And my mother's like, you know, you guys need to get up and dance. I was like, I'm not going to dance. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. And she's like, come on. And we all got up, and everyone danced.
Nice,
and
beautiful
it was,
family. Yeah,
so
it's
I'm
a
very
blessing.
fortunate.
Very fortunate. I love that. That's great.
So, you know, I know that I'm lucky when it comes to that as well. And I think that's, you know, when it comes to the HIV, one of the reasons that I beat the odds, you know, when it was really bad, I think I also had to do with family support, you know, not hiding another secret that's eating me up inside.
Right.
I was able to be open about it and get their support.
Okay. And how's dating life?
I'm single.
You're single. Hey, Glenn.
My birthday's Saturday.
What? Okay.
So I'll be 58.
Oh, you look great.
So,
look
you know,
great.
yeah, I tell people I'm 70. I think I look a lot better if I say I'm 70.
Oh.
But 58, so.
Yeah, so 58, no, you look good. I don't know if you want to say 70, in case someone goes, yeah,
someone,
okay.
Oh, yeah, already 70. No,
Yeah,
it's 58, really 58. 1960, you can do the math.
Okay, and you're like, you're a particular guy that you, like, do you care, like, what he looks like and age and stuff? Yeah, you care.
Sadly I do.
You do care,
Yeah, I like guys a little younger than me.
Yeah, okay.
I've always liked guys a little younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a type.
And like, good looking?
Yeah.
Or just smart?
Good looking.
Yeah.
You can deal with not
So
so
if it's good
smart.
looking and not so smart, it's fine. But
It's
if he's
fine. Dumb is not.
That's honest.
It is. I mean, dumb is. You know, you don't want to really date someone dumb, but
Right.
you know, I mean, they don't have to have a master's in chemical engineering.
No, definitely not. Yeah,
Because
right.
that would be kind of boring.
Right. So
I did date a librarian. He was kind of fun.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
It was like a stereotype librarian. Take the hair down and take off the glasses.
Right.
It turned out to be a lot of fun.
Okay,
So
nice.
yeah.
So Glenn's available. Reach out to him. This is the Match.com portion of the show. No, I'm just joking.
Yep. Yeah.
But seriously, you are interested. So if anybody is,
Yeah, I am
sure.
interested. Absolutely.
And you also have a lovely restaurant. You hosted my girlfriend's birthday dinner there back in April. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you.
And
it was fun.
It was a blast. Bona Italian restaurant. That's in Wilton Manors. So how do you
In the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood, yes, which is one of the top gay towns or cities in actually the country.
Yeah. Per capita, I think we beat San Francisco by concentration.
Come and visit us. Yeah.
It's a great environment.
Yeah, if you're in Florida or coming to Florida, visit Bona Italian Restaurant. And let's talk. I don't know how much time we have, but let's talk a little bit about how you ended up buying a restaurant and how did that happen?
It was actually a fluke. I wasn't looking for a restaurant. I was looking for a warehouse. My brother-in-law said, we need to invest in something, and I was looking for warehouse space and didn't find it. I went with the realtor and I asked about something on Wilson Drive, which is in the heart of Wilton Manors, and he came back and said, this restaurant's for sale, and I said I wasn't looking for a restaurant. My business partner has only been in the restaurant business. My original background is I went to school for hotel and restaurant management.
Okay.
So I have that background working for Hyatt hotels and stuff. And then this restaurant came up and it needed some tender loving care and a big hug, and it's in a great location. It's got glass windows everywhere, and we started doing some slow renovations and things to it, and it turned it around in the last year and a half, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and the community's embraced us, and we started which you're aware of, a Monday nights is 10% give back night.
Yes.
So every Monday night we choose a local nonprofit.
Give Back Mondays?
On Give Back Mondays, and we give back 10% of all proceeds from the restaurant to those charities.
So Monday's a good night to come out.
It's a great night to come out. Why cook on Monday night when you can take
go
out or let us do the dishes for you?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're saying you just came up with something new in the restaurant?
Yes, we did. So I care about the environment, and plastic is, as everyone knows, is so bad for us. It doesn't break down easily and stuff. And we do all the recycling we can, but one of the things that it's sort of a buzz that I've been hearing a lot about is plastic straws. Yes. And we use probably 500 plastic straws a week.
Wow.
And they end up in our waterways and in our landfills.
The animals in the ocean, I hear, have
the turtles, birds and things like that. So we decided that after doing some research that we were going to get rid of the plastic straws, and we found 10-inch ZD straws, which in
ZD. Pasta straws.
Has no flavor, no aftertaste, doesn't break down in the soup.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the newspapers was at the restaurant yesterday, taking pictures and interviewing our customers because we just introduced it.
That's it's not great idea.
Yeah, it won't work in a sushi restaurant because it's pasta, but in an Italian restaurant it works great. It
works out perfectly. Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. Yeah.
Every bit you can do to save an animal or save a turtle.
Yeah, you guys are doing great work. Smart Ride, Give Back. Questions? I know we got some questions. Anybody has any questions, please jump in now and ask questions. I'm here with Glen Weinzimer from the Smart Ride and from Bona Italian Restaurant. And the Smart Ride's coming up in November, and registration ends in a few.
We hope beginning of September.
Beginning of September.
Close it.
Yeah. So anybody have any questions, please feel free to ask us. I have a few other things here. Let's see here. I have a few what I call closing questions. I'm not sure about our time at all. Is it 6, 7? Oh, so we have a lot of time here. Okay, so we can talk a little bit about maybe the people who get involved in Smart Ride.
Sure. It's actually a cross-section of America.
Okay, great.
Although we're heavily supported, obviously, by the gay community, and we have a lot of men that ride in the event. I would say 30% are women, 70% are men, and they range in age from 17 to 82 is our oldest rider that we've ever had. Some people ride because they've lost a partner. Some people ride because they're HIV positive, and it's a way of being in charge of the disease, not letting you stop it, not letting it stop you.
Right.
The first time I ever rode was when I turned 50. It was the first time I'd been on my bike in 30 years. So do you train?
This is how many miles is this ride?
165.
Okay, so you have to do some kind of training. Do you guys help with the support to train?
Yeah.
Okay.
We partner with the bicycle stores around the state, and people will there's always a scheduled ride Saturday and Sunday mornings. There are rides during the week real early, so people can ride and then go to work. And we've partnered with a couple of bicycle shops here in Fort Lauderdale that our riders, tend to go towards, and then they ride from there, leave their cars and get on their bikes, and then they train. We like people to be able to do 60 miles 2 days in a row within 2 to 3 weeks of the actual event. If you can do that, you can do 165 miles. because once you're on the event, it's fully supported. So we have a medical team, we have a massage team, we supply you with food, we have rest stops every 15 to 20 miles.
Something so it's safe to ride? Like, I don't know how they do the streets or something.
So our riders, the slowest rider is 12 miles an hour, and our fastest rider is 21 miles an hour. So we travel basically in like a 2-hour window moving down the road the entire time.
Right.
And on the road we have sweep vehicles, SAG vehicles, rider transport vehicles, bike transport vehicles. So if you ride G and you get a flat tire, and you didn't practice how to change a tire,
I don't want to do that.
Then if your girlfriend isn't riding by and part of our sweep team, then one of our vehicles would stop, pick you up, take you to one of our closest rest stop.
Okay.
There'd be a bike tech there. They would help fix your bike and put you back on the road.
Okay.
And they keep the rider transport and SAG vehicles are there to support the riders should they fall, should they get hurt, should they not train enough, should they get tired, whatever that thing might be, that they didn't drink enough water and they're dehydrated, we'll get them forward to medical and get them an IV if we need to and get them back on the road.
Okay. So you rode, you said you rode.
Yes, I did.
How was that?
It was amazing because I'd always been on the production side of it. The riding part of it was actually, easier to do than to be on the production side, because when you're riding, everyone is there for the sole purpose of supporting you.
Right.
And so you're constantly, there's cheerleaders on the road that are yelling your name, and I had, an unfair advantage. Everyone knew who I was.
Right, you're the most popular guy.
Well, I don't know, I wasn't the most popular guy. Remember, I'm still single. But I was. Everyone kind of knew who I was from the years of being on, having started the event and stuff like that. So we were probably a mile and a half out of starting out from Miami, headed on our way to Key West. It was early in the morning. We leave at sunrise, and about a mile and a half out on the ground there's a chalking, and it says, "We love you, Glenn, go." And so I got really emotional, and I started to tear up, and then I thought, they don't think I'm going to finish. They don't think I'm going to get to the first rest stop. So I got angry, and I finished, and I rode the whole 100 miles that day, get off my bike, and I still want to know who wrote the note.
Yeah, who wrote that?
Yeah.
You can confess here today. Let us know. Who wrote that, Go Glenn? Was this as you're starting off, like
was
10 miles out?
No, a mile and a half out.
Oh, man.
They didn't give me much hope. They didn't even think I was going to get to the first rest stop, which was at that point, I think 9 miles out. But yeah, I got to every one of them. And it was an amazing, rewarding experience. It was just awesome to see people on the sides of the road, to see people come out from their houses and cheer you on. You get to Key West, we have a parade in Key West, and for those who've been there, Duval Street's the main road that runs through Key West, and all the shops and stuff have banners and signs, and people come out and cheer as the riders go by.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
that sounds
it's
great.
beautiful.
It's funny you're reminding people that you're single, and it's funny because I made up a story that I think a lot of people make up when I met you, and then you own it with another gay man. Mm-hmm. I made up that that's your husband.
I know, everyone does.
Oh, so it's not just me.
And
yeah, I was like,
yeah,
Glenn and his husband.
Yeah.
And so I was confident.
You're not alone.
Yeah, so I think that could be like,
and
make it harder for you that people just assume.
Exactly. I also blame him because he has a partner, so he's very comfortable saying, yes, my partner, meaning his business partner.
And I may have heard that.
And then I always have to say business partner. He has one, I don't, because he doesn't care if people think we're together, because he's got one.
Yeah. So you guys, I think that's a good point to say business partner.
You can change the whole dynamic of these shows if we keep talking about dating.
Right, exactly. It's a good point. So if you find somebody who's great, so your qualifications are your desires are
employed.
So you could be
phone is good.
A phone. Yeah. Definitely have a phone.
Not sleeping on someone's couch.
Right. So have a home.
Just the basic
okay.
needs.
Above the age of
34.
Okay. No, so 33 wouldn't work for you.
No, it would work. No, I wouldn't cut him off at 33, but...
Okay. Yeah. So I'm enjoying this. What's this question? Like, how do you keep a large event like that growing? Wow, that's a great question while giving 100% back. How do you do that?
We're really lucky. We have great sponsors. So Macy's is one of their focuses.
Shout out to Macy's. I grew up going to Macy's.
They give us money.
I love Macy's.
FedEx supplies trucks for us, and some of the logistics help, and they give us cash.
Okay, good.
Some of the pharmaceutical companies, like Merck, gives us money. We've got money from J&J over the years. Gilead, they give us money, and this AHF. AIDS Health Foundation gives us money, and we just signed on a title sponsor, CAN. It's the largest sponsor we've ever had in our 14 years. So they've signed a 3-year agreement with us, which gives us the extra funding. And then each one of our benefiting agencies in order to keep the ride going after year 3 or 4, when we were starting to burn out a little bit, is we made them find sponsors for us as part of the agreement. That they had to find outside money.
Hold on, that's brilliant. Say
And
that
so they
again.
have a buy-in. Yeah.
So you're saying you tell your sponsors?
No, we tell our benefiting agencies.
Your agencies. Okay.
The people we give the money to
To
that if they
find-
want us to keep doing this, they have to help us pay for it. But because we have 100% back, it can't be money they already have
Okay.
or money that's given to them for other purposes.
Wow.
They have to go out and find money for the sole purpose of helping meet the needs of the Smart Ride. So, like in Key West, they have bingo every weekend.
Okay.
So they'll mail a check every week for like $300 or $400. That bingo is listed as a fundraiser to help pay for the Smart Ride.
Okay.
So in
That's
Key West,
smart.
1 year in Key
Yes.
West for Fantasy Fest, they sold seats on the float for $100 a person. So they kind of made their buy-in by having people wanted to be on the float, and then it was going to charity, and it was something they had never done before. So we make them get creative, and it gets them involved in the community.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, more people are aware of it. Yeah. So
And the services that they offer.
how do you juggle? Because I do a lot. Nikki does a lot. David's here, right in the studio. He does a lot. How do you juggle doing this massive Smart Ride, running a restaurant, and I know you also,
You sleep when you die.
yeah, that's it.
Not pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
this is balance. It's about
Yeah,
balance,
balance.
you know, and good people around you. I'm very fortunate.
You
We've
have a
got
good
some good
team?
people. Yeah, we've got a
Yeah.
good team of volunteers, a couple of people part-time that help run the website and do things like that. You know, shout out to Chris Caputo and Agile Marketing. They do our website for free, and you know, it's those
Nice.
things moving us forward. A lot of
Right.
people really care.
Right.
You know, I think I said to you before, and I don't know how much time we have left. Millennials are, our biggest challenge.
Okay.
Getting younger people to get involved in the ride, because there are people that have been doing this ride or similar types of rides for the last 30 years. And
Right.
they're turning 60, 61,
Wow, so we need
62.
younger people to get involved.
Yeah, because it's affecting them right now. The ages 15 to 24 are getting affected disproportionately. Minorities are being affected disproportionately. And we have to somehow get past that stigma
Yeah.
and get people engaged in the
I don't know if
conversation.
people know that, really. Younger people are more impacted.
Right, yeah.
And
you know.
people of color.
And people of color
Yeah.
and the Hispanic community.
Hispanic.
Latins and all, that's what's getting disproportionately affected. And so if we can get them to participate and see the value and understand it's their future, you know, I think that we can keep this thing going, because the reality is, although people aren't dying every day from HIV and AIDS, people are getting older, and they're getting and they can't continue to celebrate the lives that have been lost, or you know, they're the memory of what happened in the earlier days. And although it looks different, you know, people still get sick, and you die from complications in many cases. You know, high blood pressure or heart disease, and from all these different medications and things you take.
I know there's a story of a particular person you wanted to share.
Enlighten me.
Okay, maybe you don't. So let me shout out Sai, who I know spoke to you before. She said there was a
Yes.
particular young man that you want to share a story about. I don't know if you recall. Maybe not.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Maybe you remember as soon as we get
Of
offline.
course I will.
Yeah, that's fine. So,
I will. I'll share a different story. Though,
okay,
if
then
that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, of course, please.
Okay. So, you know, we have all these volunteers, 250 volunteers, and they all have different jobs. And we had 1 year where it rained really bad. It was actually it was the first time we had a really cold snap in Florida. And it was just bitter. We had Mylar blankets for people, and this one writer sent me a note a week after the ride, and he said, I need to know who was standing at the corner of US 1 just as you get to Key West.
Okay.
It's almost like the corner of US 1 and US 1 meet when you make a right-hand turn when you get to Key West. He said, I was cold, I couldn't feel my feet, I was tired, I had done the best I could, but I wasn't going to finish. I only had 4 miles to go,
Wow.
but I had given up. I was done. He said, and there was a lone person standing in the median waving. And he said, I bet you he thinks, why am I standing here in the rain? This is so stupid, nobody cares. And he said to me, the only reason I finished is I saw him, and I got the energy and the spirit and the ability, and he finished the ride because of the person. And he said, I want that person to know. So we did some research, found out who it was, and connected the two of them.
Oh, beautiful.
And
I love that.
yeah, it was a great story, and it was
Ah.
true, because we all make a difference every day.
Yeah.
You hold the door open for somebody, they smile, and they walk away in a good mood. You slam
Right.
you push the elevator door to close, and someone misses it. It changes their attitude, changes
Right.
their demeanor. They go up to their office or wherever they're headed, and you know, oh, I just met one of your neighbors, and they're such a blank. You know,
Right,
as opposed to, I
yeah.
just had such a nice experience. They were so nice. and then everyone around you kind of feeds off of that.
Right.
So every little gesture that we do makes an impact on the world.
Yeah, I'm thinking about riding 100 and something miles and having 4 left, and just feeling like you can't make it. That's crazy, but yeah, if you're, of course, and he says 160 miles.
165. So he was
161.
he was on his second day.
Wow,
Yeah.
I just felt. So yeah, that's one. I'm glad you connected
Yeah.
with that person. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that was a great. I love that story.
I love that story. I'm sure you have tons of great connections of people over the years.
I remember who the other story is, but I don't think we have time for it.
Do we have time for the other story?
Well, if you go over it.
Okay, so do you want to share the story?
I can share it. I'll make it really quick.
Yeah, share the story.
Okay, so there's a guy that was on our bike ride. He came as a volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
and he had been married to a woman living in London.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 kids. One was 17, and he came on and volunteered. And through volunteering for the ride that year, he met all these people. The first person he slept with, first man he slept with was HIV positive, and he didn't know it, and he got infected.
Oh wow.
So he's on our ride. This is a whole new experience. Being out and gay, living in the U.S. instead of London. And the following year, he said, "My son wants to ride," and we have a rule that you have to be 17 or 18 and older in order to
Right.
participate. And we'll make exceptions if the person's mature enough, is doing it for the right reasons, and all of that. And the reason the kid wanted to ride is because he wanted to thank every single rider and every person his father had met on the ride, because it made the last year of his father's life
Oh.
so much more powerful and engaged, and gave him hope, because he met all these amazing people doing good. And so he
Beautiful.
wanted to ride to thank them for helping his dad through that year of nothing but change and finding out you're HIV positive and all these other things. And that's the spirit of the ride.
Beautiful spirit.
So.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I'm glad we took the extra time to share it.
I did it fast. I did
Yeah,
it fast
you
as I
did.
could.
You did great. And we have a few questions that we end with called Queer Conversation Closing Questions. And I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for all this great work you're doing.
Thank you.
And also for people who are watching, thank you for tuning in. Please share the video, like Verity TV. Tune in every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST. And also, I don't go that much right now, but I'm working behind the scenes getting ready for the Art Woman, which is going to be March 2019. I have the flyer here. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Wherever you are in the world, please plan to fly it in March to Fort Lauderdale, and we're going to announce specific dates. But when I'm going out, people are saying, "Hold on, I saw your show on Facebook. I saw that interview with my friend. I saw this." So people are really, I love that people are tuning in and excited about the show. And someone just said, "Hey, I want to come on the show." She does events in Miami, lesbian events. So shout out to Let's Connect and to Bridget also, and everybody who's supporting Queer Conversations and the Art Woman. And keep tuning in and keep supporting. Okay, so closing question. What inspires you?
Seeing people smile because you've done something to help them.
What makes you laugh?
Jokes. No, I make myself laugh more than anybody else,
Okay.
but silly things.
Silly things.
Silly things make me laugh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. This is Penny saying this is awesome. Thank you, everybody. And we have, what's sexy?
A really good smile. Someone looks you in the eye. There's that sincerity when you make a connection.
Okay, nice. And last one is, what's so great about being gay?
The people that I know, the family that you choose. There's a lot of things. If I had a choice, I would choose to be gay. I think as a kid it would have been easier not to be.
Yes.
I think this generation has it easier, but I think that if I had to do it again, I am very happy with the way life turned out, even with the HIV positive thing. You know what? It's what you make out of it, and I think that being around creative people, being around people that really care, choosing a family as well as a family that you have, I'm very happy with the way things turned out.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
everyone. Take care.
Thank
See you
you.
next week.
Yeah.